Hello my beautiful friends. So in this video, I'm going to share with you the secrets about whether or not you should consider doing a PhD or getting a job. I've done both and I'm going to compare and contrast them so you can make the best choice for you. If you're new to this channel, please remember to subscribe and hit that bell notification because I'm going to share everything that I've learned about higher education, about academia, doing a PhD, and everything that I did wrong so you don't make the same mistakes and you can make the best choices with your eyes wide open. I can tell you things that other people can't tell you because I'm outside of the system. So subscribe, I've got loads of awesome videos planned. Okay, let's get over. Should you do a PhD or a job? Here's my experience. I did a PhD, it took me 3 years because I was an international student, and then straight after my PhD I was so frustrated and annoyed with academia that I decided that I would just go out and get a job. I was doing a lot of mini emulsion and like colloid and surface science stuff during my PhD. So I found a job in an explosives company called Dyno Nobel. Dyno Nobel was nearby. They do explosives, emulsion explosives. So it was a perfect fit. And a few of my ex-lab kind of buddies had also gone into similar positions, so it was perfect. And yeah, it was a fantastic fit for me and my skills. I spent a lot of time out in big dirty holes, which was one of the issues, but I loved it. I got flown all over the country to go to different mine sites, to investigate different explosives, to troubleshoot any issues with explosives, to run trials, and overall it was a fantastic time. There were some really big differences between what I experienced in PhD land and what I experienced in the job market, and I'm going to share that with you now. The first thing I want to talk about is the fact that the path of least resistance often keeps people in a PhD and in academia far longer than they should be. That is because you get used to your environment, right? Like if you've done a master's and if you've done undergraduate, the university environment is so warm and nice and familiar, and you understand how it works. And that is the thing you've got to always fight against throughout your entire career, is not is this comfortable, but is this giving me the skills and the experience to be able to get to that next step. And I think a lot of people at the end of their masters go, well, I don't really want to get a job, jobs suck, which, they kind of do. Every job sucks in some way. And you just don't want to leave. So you go, well, I'll just do a PhD. I talked about that a lot. And actually go check out my TEDx talk that I gave. I'll link it here. It was called The Illusion of Progress. It was years ago. I don't have a beard, but I really stand by the things that I said in that. And I put a lot of thought into what I wanted to say. So go check that out. Stepping outside of your comfort zone, i.e. getting away from academia, is a fantastic thing to do if you're not sure what you want to do. Like it's kind of counterintuitive, because stepping outside of your comfort zone and going, well, I know what academia is like, I'm not sure whether it's for me, but I'm not sure also that a job's for me, so I'll go give it a go. Like, why not? You can always go back to do a PhD. I spent 13 months in my industry job before going back to academia because of the priorities of the company, because of the way that industrial kind of research is set up. It is very, very different. So let's talk about that now. Let's just assume that you've really got to weigh up your options based on not only is this right for me, but also am I just doing it because it's the easy option? So just wrestle with that question a little bit, and I think you'll be much closer to working out whether or not doing a PhD or going into a job is best for you. Doing a research job is not like anything else I had ever done before. So I went straight into hardcore industry. I was an explosives chemist, like I said, and I wore like overalls and I got mucky, and I went from dealing with test tubes and beakers to mixing up whole batches in a cement mixer, and then creating essentially pipe bombs. I fill up pipes with explosives, put boosters in the top, and then set them off. I got my qualification as a shot firer, so I could actually set off explosives and design explosives layouts, all that sort of stuff. And that was so awesome to immediately be thrown into something else. And yeah, it was a small team. I think there were probably about 5 or 6 industrial chemists working on different aspects of explosives. And the great thing is, our boss was fantastic. Like, he still gave us the academic freedom in a job. If we had an idea, he'd encourage us to follow it. Or if we wanted to do something out of the ordinary, he would say, sure, go give it a go and report back. That was fantastic. And I'm not sure that's true for all industry jobs, but my boss at the time, he really kept the interest up by allowing us to pursue things that we thought were interesting and that could benefit the company. But this is what it comes down to, is the fact that in industry, money rules. Like, I had projects completely removed from my project list because the accountants decided it was no longer profitable. I had to lodge every single hour of my time throughout the day and where it was going. And then every so often, I'd get a phone call from higher up in the accountant's world. And they would be like, you have to stop. And that was it. That was the end of the project. No matter if I was enjoying it, no matter if it was actually going well, it was actually getting what you wanted. Like, yeah, that was it. That was the game of industry. So that's the first big difference, is money rules in a completely different way. In academia, you have to get money for grants and get money to, survive if you're higher up. In a PhD, you have your stipend, hopefully, which in mine was about $20,000 throughout my, per year throughout my PhD. But money rules in a different way, in the fact that someone can just pull the project because it's not deemed profitable anymore. Industry is completely focused on commercial outcomes. So it is no longer good enough when you're in industry to say, I've got this idea, I want to pursue it because it's interesting. I kind of had to put together a little business case each time that I wanted to try something. So it was like, I want to try this new experiment because I think it can reduce costs. Companies only care about one of two things: increase profit, reducing costs. That's it. So if I could link in why I wanted to do these things actually, I tell you what, there's like a third one: intellectual property. I did get like a patent application underway while I was there. I don't think it turned into anything, but they do care about IP as well. So that's probably a bit unfair to say only two things. But if you can make a business case that incorporates two of those three things, then people go, yeah, sure, give it a go. And it pleases the accountants, it pleases your boss. And importantly, if you can mix that in with something you actually want to do, then that's super important and super useful as well. But yeah, commercial outcomes is where it's at. Unlike a PhD, where you can just be like, I want to do this because I think it's interesting, or you can kind of follow these little quirks that you notice as you go, but that's not the case in industry. So yeah, you have to consider that if you're considering getting a PhD or going into a job. It's not a bad thing, it's just different. The third thing that I really noticed was that the timelines were completely different. In a PhD, we've talked about how hard it is to do a PhD because the timelines are so massive and it's hard to keep the momentum up and, all of that stuff. And it's 3 years, 3 to 4, 5. I mean, someone on the comments said that it was like 7 to 9 years, which is just insane to me. But those are the sort of timelines that we're thinking about. Whereas in a job, people want to say, okay, in 6 months, what will you deliver? Like, they want something. And that kind of, I understand it. They're trying to make money, right? But at the same time, it's hard to get something going and get something good enough to the point where you can, demonstrate it's worthwhile in 6 months. So that was a big challenge. You could say, well, I want to change this gas for this certain explosive. And they'd be like, okay, yeah, get us some preliminary data in the next sort of like couple of months and we'll see if we'll continue with it. All of that is really challenging. Like I said, it's not bad, it's just different. And I completely understand why it has to be like that. But that's something that if you like shorter timelines, you like the pressure, I think doing a job rather than a PhD could be better for you. And yeah, the short timelines did mean that I did a lot more work, I think. And the fourth thing is that a PhD is not very well paid, but a job can be. Now, I was paid, I think when I joined, $75,000 Australian dollars a year, which is fantastic. You know, going from 20 grand to 75, I didn't know what to do with myself. I spent it on loads of rubbish that I didn't need. But I did save some. I'm a pretty good saver. But yeah, you know, there were people on my team who had masters who earned the same amount as me. So doing a PhD isn't necessary to go into a job to get the same amount of money. In some companies, it opens up certain pay scales that you can't otherwise get. But overall, I think that doing a job and getting paid for it just improved my sense of well-being and worth. You know, it shouldn't be like that. And I you know, that's not how you should consider if you are being productive or worthwhile. But it was a massive boost to my income, and it was bloody fantastic. I'm not gonna lie. Like, that is one of the best things about doing a job. Also, if you've done a PhD or if you've done an undergraduate, you've already spent time not earning money. Like, I remember my friends who went into to trades, they were earning money after, you know, a couple years, and they were buying cars and houses. And it's not about buying things, all right? It's not like become a super consumer. But it was so weird to kind of look at our progress and be like, hang on, I decided to go into uni and I'm poor as hell. Was this the right decision? So getting a job at the end of your master's could be the thing that just, you know, makes you participate in adult life, which is brilliant. And another thing I would say about industry is that as part of my industry research, we did actually have collaborations with scientists in universities. So it wasn't as if I was completely away from all of the research. I still had the opportunity every so often to, you know, communicate with the researchers. They came in, they spoke to us, and they helped us, and we helped them. And it is just a different side of a project. If they can see where their science is ending up, there's no reason why you can't still have your fingers, your dirty little science fingers, in loads of dirty little science pies. So yeah, it doesn't have to be completely mutually exclusive. You know, we did communicate with scientists. We did communicate our work in an academic way. So yeah, it doesn't have to not happen. You just have to look for those opportunities in a job, that's all. And the last thing I would say is that having a job and doing a PhD doesn't have to necessarily be exclusive from each other. They can happen together. Now, I knew of at least 3 people during my PhD and postdocs who had a job. One of them worked in government, the other one worked in an energy company, and were doing their PhD at the same time. Now, the great thing about this, and the thing that I was always jealous about, was the fact that they got paid their wage while spending 2 days a week doing a PhD. And sure, it took, you know, twice as long. So you're talking at 6 or 7 years to do this PhD. But first of all, they're being paid a full wage. They're getting to do their academic kind of exercises and flex their academic muscles, but also they're going to contribute to their job. And so you can find industries that are willing to get you through your PhD as long as you sort of like work with them and for them at the end or during, or, you know, some sort of mix of 2 days PhD, 3 days job. You can find them. I don't know where you would go to find them, but keep asking, keep looking, and you may be able to find, you know, that mix. And I think it's bloody fantastic. I think it is so sort of great that you can get your academic qualifications while being paid a good wage, while also just contributing to a job and enjoying that. So yes, that is a really sort of great insight that I had, that I'd wish that I had when I was deciding to do a PhD, because I would have probably chosen an industry collaboration PhD over just a kind of standard one. Yeah, so consider that for you. So there we are. There are all the things I know about having a PhD and doing a job in industry. Hopefully that has helped you. Remember, if this video has been helpful, give it a like, thumbs up, all of the YouTube algorithm stuff, because that helps me a lot. And also let me know in the comments below, what's your experience between academia, industry? What have you liked? What have you not liked? That is going to help everyone else that comes across this video. So thank you very much, and I shall see you in the next video.